Here are some of the books that I use to teach my son about oil, and I want to start introducing them to more children. This is important to me, oil, steel, and railroads, because I actually have baby boomers that are in their 60s that worked with the railroads in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I've started interviewing them, and because they go through the transition of coal to petroleum, to show how the railroads were changing over their fuel from coal usage to the petroleum. Here's Fueling the Future, another children's book that I go through with my son so you can understand even about the importance of pipelines. Now pipelines, that's wonderful, and that cost me under $4. I went to the hardware store and I took my son through the areas where there were pipes, and we bought piping. We bought foam. You can see some of the foam here, and we bought the foam so that we could cut it and make garages and platforms for his toy helicopters. And at the same time, we bought a lot of piping. And I was showing him how to make the piping and how to make a marble roll down the piping and how to make liquid water roll down the piping. Because pipelines, were very strategic in the building of the United States, of getting oil from one place to another. Because before the pipelines, you had railroads, and you had people that had monopolies that they were taking up on the railroads, leaders in industry and the financiers. And so some of the oil producers said, well, let's build large pipes and let's pipe the oil from one part of the United States, from the north to the south or the east to the west, and not bypass the railroads. So I started teaching my son about piping, and then when it comes down to using toothpicks and popsicles to make the different kind of oil wells, just get them used to it and then teach them how the buildings are structured and how they're made. I would love to find a replica of some of the oil pipelines. I mean, to me, you can go to the hobby shops and you can find stuff on the Eiffel Tower and the Library of Congress and the Great Wall of China. Well, I'd like to find a deep sea oil rig like this, a toy model for my son, and build it right here with all his toys right in the center, so we can learn how these petroleum companies like OPEC, how these companies will build small cities out in the middle of deep sea Gulf of Mexico oil wells and do their drilling. And right now Syria's in the news, and I know my son's hearing about it when I listen to the news on the radio and TV, so I'm going to start to introduce him to Syria and why people are talking about Syria and why people are asking questions about Syria and why we're listening to the news on the radio about Syria, so that he has an understanding oil and gas. And then we're starting a dialogue and we're communicating about it, discovering the amazing world of oil and gas, from the formation to their influence on daily life. How breathtaking for a child to learn this kind of vocabulary. Natural gas, fused from oil, oil refineries, drilling deep, big rigs. Where in the world? Powering the world. Tracing back to the sun, the origins of oil and gas. This is all very important. And look, there's all these books on Iran, Iraq. Here's Turkey. Let's start teaching the fundamentals of oil. Let's start teaching about these cities. Maybe later on we'll go into nuclear power. I can take them to these areas of Nevada where they have solar-powered wind farms. Arctic oil. Wouldn't that be amazing if I could get a tour, take a bunch of adults, families and children up to Alaska, and in Alaska we'd see polar bears and learn about how they drill oil and how the industry of oil up there and the Alaskan pipeline and how it turned the United States into such a thriving petroleum metropolis. We know it's important. Let's start teaching it. America's big business in the late 1800s. It's a big business now, and we have a responsibility to teach our children.